Thank you for being part of this weather community as we get closer to 800,000 subscribers. Thank you. All right, we have this. This is now Barbara in the Eastern Pacific. This area, watching in the Western Caribbean, a slightly higher chance this area develops. I want to show you if it'll lift to the north or swing to the west. Plus, a new round of dust coming in. On top of that, some tropical waves coming in. And then to the north, a significant severe weather threat back through the U.S. But look at this flare up overnight. You see these brighter colors? That's telling me we have taller clouds. In those taller clouds, there's more moisture. My biggest concern, my number one concern as we get into the week ahead is the flood threat as we get back through parts of Central America. It is going to be significant. Mudslides will be a potential. Rivers will be on the rise. And then we'll see the dust that will be moving in. I'll show you the dust day by day in a moment. And look at this, the tropical Atlantic. Here we are, Barbados, Trinidad, St. Lucia. This is starting to bubble up. No signs of development out here, but you see a little more activity, a sign we're starting to get deeper into the season. Ahead of it, though, there is a big swath of dust. But once that moves by, we need to keep an eye on this because while this won't develop initially, this will start to increase the moisture back into the Caribbean. Now, to the north, you see this here. Working back through parts of the U.S., there was severe weather yesterday, but especially Oklahoma, parts of Texas, watching Arkansas, even Louisiana by later today and even tonight. An overnight severe weather outbreak is a potential. So lots to cover in this video. Now, the chance of development. You see this green here. This is the European model where you see this darker green. It's saying there's about a 50 to 60% chance of development. And I do believe there is that higher chance of development in the Western Caribbean. As it stands now, it's a little bit more likely this area shifts into the Eastern Pacific, but the models are battling that. So let me show you the American model versus the European model and what I'm seeing in the environment. First thing is first, my biggest concern, as I mentioned, the flood threat building. I'll show you the computer models on Barbara in just a moment, but here are these tropical waves that are sliding in. We're going to see some moisture, but mainly to the south because to the north, we have that swath of dust that is headed our way. There's so many pieces this time of year to put together, and just know that I'm working hard behind the scenes to watch everything for you. Now, as we work our way into our Monday tomorrow, you see that rain building. Panama, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Honduras, lots of rain. Spotty storms possible. Cuba, Haiti, the DR, back through Jamaica. There's the rain, Guyana and Suriname, Trinidad. It's going to be a close call the next couple days because the rain is going to battle some of the dust, but we should see some showers, especially by Tuesday, trying to squeak in. But by Tuesday, the rain continues in parts of Central America, and eventually some of this will start to feed toward Belize and the Yucatan Peninsula in Mexico, where a lot of us have been on the drier side. So let's go out in time here further, and then I'll show you that European model. This is by Thursday. All the models, the Canadian model, the German model, are agreeing on the buildup of rain. And then eventually, once the dust lessens, you see that rain sneaking in there. St. Vincent the Grenadines, Grenada, Trinidad. Now this area here, does it shift more to the west or does it lift to the north? As it stands now, biggest concern, again, the flooding. That's going to happen. A little more likely it shifts to the west. This model, though, does want to develop this a little bit sooner and bring it to the north. If this area can develop early, it would be a little bit more likely to lift to the north. So this is a potential by next weekend that we could have a lot of rain building in the Western Caribbean, and then eventually by the following week, so look how far out in time we are, right? This is June 16th. That rain lifts to the north and then would eventually try to develop back into the Gulf, right? So this is the American model showing that. But all the other models and what I'm seeing in the environment is, yes, showing a lot of rain building, which is something to watch, but shifting it a little bit more back to the west. Plus, there's a lot of land here. And again, these areas need to stay over water to develop. They feed off the water. So here's the European model showing the rain in parts of Central America, monitoring some of these tropical waves moving in, maybe mainly on the south, but then that dust to the north. So just to orient you, Haiti, the DR, Puerto Rico, Jamaica, Cuba, here's Belize. Now let's go out in time here, watching Honduras, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama. That rain that's around just kind of building. We're going out in time here. This is by Thursday of our upcoming week. And you see a couple things here. One, a lot of rain building. I mentioned all of the models have that across Central America, days and days of rain for some of us. And then watching this rain, mainly to the south as of now, because it's going to to fight off some of the dust. But to the north, here are these fronts. Now, if these fronts dig a little bit more to the south, if they're a little bit more to the south, it may help pull this area to the north. But the European model is seeing this moving a little bit more to the west. That's what most of the models are seeing. There's what the American model would do, would bring it back toward the Gulf and have it develop. Now, let's go on time here further, going down the road as we work our way into next weekend. So we'll swing it here, and let me stop the clock right about here. This would be by next weekend into the following week, Monday. So this would be by June 16th. So we know it's going to change, but showing the fronts to the north, but these areas either developing a little bit or not at all. Here we go. But look at that rain in parts of Central America. But then as we go on time further, then you could see that moisture swinging to the Eastern Pacific, and you see what the European model does. This is by about June 19th, developing something in the Eastern Pacific side. This is also what the ICON German model shows, the Canadian model shows. So the fronts would be well to the north. So point being, the rain the biggest concern, and then eventually, by the way, I do want to mention this, swinging back into the Eastern Caribbean. We're going to see that rain on the increase as we get into mid-month. But most of the models showing the big area of rain and then kind of shifting it off to the Eastern Pacific side. So to draw the whatever tries to develop to the west, one model, the American model, is lifting it to the north. Is that possible? Yeah, but I will have plenty of time to watch the environment and what's going on to give you a heads up. If something were to develop, I'll let you know. But as I mentioned, and I will keep saying it, the biggest concern, it's always my concern, is the flooding, the tropical downpours through Central America. We do not need a named system to have big time flooding. We saw that about a week ago, parts of Guatemala and Mexico. We had cars just floating away. Now, the dust plays a wrinkle in the forecast this month and next month. That's kind of the dusty time of year. You get rounds of dust. It doesn't totally prevent development. You just get pockets of dust, then it lessens, then more pockets of dust. But today, the dust starts to move in. Let me know in the comments by Barbados, back through St. Vincent the Grenadines, Grenada, Dominica, some of the dust, Martinique. Then by the time we get into Tuesday, this yellow shading here, the dust squeaks into Puerto Rico, the DR, Haiti, Jamaica, getting all the way over toward Honduras and Nicaragua. It'll mix with some of the rain there, but it's not quite as thick as the last round. It will start to lessen as it moves in. I'll be monitoring that dust as we go through the week ahead. Now, look at this severe weather threat, and then I want to show you Barbara and the computer models. This is that area leaving Newfoundland, and that'll work away. Here's another spot. This is that severe weather threat later today, Oklahoma, Texas. And this will happen at night for some of us, during the day as well, but also even overnight. This just working its way in, a vigorous line of rain and storms, parts of Oklahoma, Arkansas, may get into Louisiana, northeastern sections of Texas. So a severe weather threat, damaging winds, a tornado threat, a big possibility out of that. And then by tomorrow, the severe weather threat back toward the southeast U.S. You can see this area here moving through Ontario, Quebec, the Great Lakes. Keeping an eye on Bermuda. Most of the action's been to the north of there. And then you see this front on Monday into Tuesday, eventually lifting its way up toward parts of Quebec in New England, and then eventually over toward parts of New Brunswick. That'll bring a better chance of showers Tuesday into Wednesday through the Atlantic region of Canada, and hopefully the severe weather threat subsides some. Now here is Barbara, the new name in the Eastern Pacific, a separate set of names in the Eastern Pacific. There was Alvin, now this is Barbara. It should stay away from the Mexican coastline. I'm keeping a very close eye on that, but then it will lift a little bit more toward the northwest as it does, and encounter some cooler water. A couple other spots that may try to develop, right? Yesterday's video, I mentioned 3 areas that I'm watching. There's 3 spots out here, but there is Barbara. As it lifts a little bit to the north, it starts to fall apart by Tuesday as it enters some colder water. But no, in Mexico, I'm keeping an eye on this, but as of now, things behaving, and then we'll watch out for these other spots there. Here is what we can expect. Again, it should stay away from the coastline. It does have a window the next day or two, about a day or so, today and tomorrow to really develop. Could become a hurricane briefly, and then there's that weakening trend back to a tropical storm and eventually a depression. And you see all of the models and what I'm seeing in the environment keeping this just away from the Mexican coastline and then eventually weakening over the next few days. Now the sea's obviously building here with this, no doubt with Barbara. It will get choppier though through the Caribbean and the Atlantic passageways as we get into the week ahead. Let me take you through midweek and to the end of the week. This is Thursday. Thursday. This is Friday. You see the seas building south side of Jamaica. The seas will build, watching over toward Grand Cayman, and then swinging back toward parts of Central America, Providencia, San Andres. As we watch some of our islands, watching Roatan, Corn Islands, we're going to see some of the seas really building as we get toward the end of the week with that area of rain that's going to be sticking around back toward the Western Caribbean. Now, spotty storms. Look at Cuba. We'll see some storms. Some of us won't get some, but some of us could get a quick 75 millimeters of rain. Some of the storms could be quite strong. Cayman Islands, Jamaica. Keeping an eye on that rain just to the south. Haiti and the DR, the rain chance trends up. We'll get some spotty showers and thunderstorms that'll develop. Same thing in parts of Puerto Rico. But that dust is also moving in. So Antigua, Barbuda, Anguilla, St. Kitts and Nevis, Saba, Statia, we will see that dust also moving in that will limit the chance of rain. British and U.S. Virgin Islands, St. Croix, we're going to have some of the dust moving in, but also that chance of a passing shower. Dominica, watching that dust that is moving in today in south. Trinidad, though, it's going to be a close call with some of the rain. Rain chance should eventually bump up. It's a battle between that dry, dusty air and some of the rain down to the south. You see Guyana and Suriname will have totals over 100 millimeters of rain. This a massive concern. Costa Rica, Panama, parts of Nicaragua, especially Caribbean side, Honduras, eastern end. That's where we're going to have some totals that could be over 150 millimeters of rain over the next 3 days. So thank you for sharing this information. Mudslides, very dangerous. Rivers, dangerous river crossings that we'll be watching as that rain continues to build. Meanwhile, Yucatan Peninsula, Belize, not as much. Mexico City, spotty shower. Then we get to the north. This in through here will be with that severe weather threat today. Right through here, obviously the tornado and damaging wind threat is the greatest, but there could be 4 or 5 inches of rain right through here with those big time thunderstorms, and all of that will pivot its way back toward the southeast U.S. over the next couple of days. So a 30 to 40% chance of some spotty showers and storms for us in Jamaica, 30 to even 40% chance for the week ahead. So Cayman Islands, our rain chance does bump up slightly. On the edge of it in Trinidad, we're going to have a 40, then building to a 50% chance of rain. I'll be watching your comments. 20 to 30% chance in Barbados with the dust arriving today, and a 30% chance with the dust arriving later today in parts of St. Lucia. 30 to 40% chance of some showers in Grenada. By Tuesday, though, we'll be up to about a 50% chance, 30 to 40% chance, St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Isolated shower in Martinique, isolated shower the next 3 days in Dominica, and an isolated chance of a shower passing by in Guadeloupe all the way through Tuesday. We swing to the north, Antigua, Barbuda, rain chance relatively low, slight chance of a shower. St. Kitts and Nevis, Montserrat, rain chance about 30% the next 2 days, and just a 20% chance Anguilla and St. Bart's, and a 20% chance the next 3 days, St. Martin, Saba, and Statia. Isolated thunderstorms possible in Puerto Rico. We swing back toward the U.S. and British Virgin Islands. Rain chance still holding generally at 20% over the next couple of days. The Bahamas, a little bit of moisture around northern Bahamas too. We may eventually get a better chance of some of that rain pulling off the southeast U.S., pulling off of Florida. That may clip us by over toward New Providence and Freeport. Turks and Caicos, rain chance 20%, but building some across the Dominican Republic. Tomorrow and Tuesday, about a 50% chance. You see, in Haiti by Tuesday, we're going to be up to a 40% chance of some scattered showers. Monday and Tuesday, a 40% chance as we work our way back through Belize. Aruba, Curacao, and Bonaire, we will get some dust moving in, especially as we work our way into Tuesday, and that will help limit the chance of rain, but a high chance of rain. Guyana, a high chance of rain in Suriname, watching out for additional flooding. It's kind of picking up again. Rain chance 50% in Cuba, watching out for those thunderstorms. As I mentioned, a very high chance of rain throughout much of Costa Rica, Panama, monitoring the flooding, doing that as well in Nicaragua. 70% chance of rain, monitoring those rivers and mudslides. Honduras, eastern end, better chance of rain. Some of that could be some flooding rain, and an 80% chance is going to hold Guatemala and El Salvador. Isolated shower across Mexico City, isolated the next couple of days across the Yucatan Yucatan Peninsula, 40% chance in northern Colombia, 40% chance in northern Venezuela by Tuesday, building to a 60% chance of rain. In Bermuda, most of the areas of rain staying just up to the north. So the development chance is a little higher in the western Caribbean. That's what I'll be watching. That flood threat definitely getting higher. And then we have Barbara in the eastern Pacific. It is getting busy. Thank you for being with me, spending some time with me, taking a part of your day away to hang out. I'll be watching your comments throughout the day, so you can leave your location and what weather you have, or if it's just a nice day, I'll be watching those. Have a good day ahead.